And I think we are live.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody. I know I have not been active in a while. I have been super busy, but I plan to get back to content soon. And I'm actually joined by guests today, Stranger and Amethyst.
Hello.
So we're going to be talking about the Superman movie in full detail. I was going to have a review on it, like when it came out, but I just didn't get around to it. But we are doing it now. So, first off, where do you guys want to start?
Wherever you want.
Wherever you want.
Do we want to give our out of 10 rankings first, just to get that out of the way? But it was a 10 for me.
Same.
That's pretty much a 10 for me, too. I had a couple of small complaints, but not enough to take away from it.
All right, yeah. So I got the score up on my phone, the soundtrack, because it has all the names of the tracks, and that will help me keep track of the scenes. So we can do it that way. That'll probably be more organized. So first off, what did we think of? We had the what's it called? The Star Wars type like wording in the beginning, where it showed the history of the universe, where 300 years ago,
I thought it was.
humans started appearing.
I thought it was very smart and a quick way to introduce everyone in the framework.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so this actually connects to something so my theory is I saw it online, so it's not mine, but I believe I could see it happening where 300 years ago, when they talk about the first metahumans, I wonder if Vandal Savage was that first metahuman, and if so, because he's immortal, are we gonna see him as the big bad for Chapter 1 of the DCU? I wonder.
Well, I loved the crawl and how they did that. We've seen enough origin stories for Superman. So, from my
Yeah.
perspective, this was a great way for them to do that origin story. And on your note with Vandal Savage, I had already, that was one of my first thoughts because since we, you know, not, since we already know from the trailers that we're going to be seeing Hawk Woman with the Justice Gang, and anybody that knows anything about the comics knows that she is connected to Vandal Savage. So I think that we definitely will see Vandal Savage as a big bad, as a metahuman. And I think that is part of why that was started that way. James Gunn doesn't do anything without meaning if you've watched any of his other movies. At least that would be my theory on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was. I was also glad we didn't get an origin. However, when it comes to like characters like Batman, I think I would be fine with seeing an origin again. But also, I don't think we need one either. Especially if they started off with having Robin too. I don't think that would be necessary.
Well, James Gunn actually brought this up recently, or in an interview. He said that everyone and their mother knows. Wait, is my sound breaking up?
Just for a second. Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. I think we may have lost Stranger.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, The something was scratching, so I don't really know.
Oh, okay. Um.
Let me join and come back.
Okay.
I don't think we need a Batman origin story again either, because they've done it over and over and over again. And if he was to do the same crawl like what he did for Batman, now, I don't necessarily, he's already announced that what he plans to do with Batman is, oh, I forget the name of the film, but it's going to be the one with Damon Wayne. So he's skipping several Batman films in there, because I would have loved to have seen Red Hood. I would have loved to have seen a few others. So that means he's going to skip all the way to that. But we don't need that origin story. So if we're skipping all the way to Damon Wayne, then you're not going to do an origin story. You're going to do something, you might have some flashbacks about what's happened here, 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 and here, maybe in a crawl. Or at least that's my opinion. I don't know what he'll do exactly. Who knows?
What he could do is, if it's true, it looks like he's going with Damian Wayne. We could then have, because we also know we're getting Titans or Teen Titans with Dick Grayson, right?
Mhm.
So we could have flashbacks of what happened with Jason Todd, becoming Red Hood and all that stuff with the Joker, and then we could have him show up as a present threat later on.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also not a full villain, so
Right. He's more of an
anti-hero.
anti-hero.
Yeah.
So, and Gunn really likes to show some heroes and villains that we haven't seen in the past, which personally I really, really enjoyed that in the movie. So, and if you're going in order, I don't want to get ahead, because, I want to go in your order. There's lots of things I could, talk about. There's just a lot to talk about in that
Yeah.
2 hours.
Well, next up we had so we had that opening scene. We had Superman land in this I was about to say sand, land in the snow, and then he, obviously beaten up. One thing I also wanted to bring up is, it's some people were complaining when James Gunn was talking about making Superman vulnerable, but he really wasn't, because by that point he hasn't lost a fight in 3 years.
Right.
So, and then, by the end we
Yeah.
see him do some OP things too, but we can get to that when we get to that. But so then we have had, Crypto. He calls Crypto. By the way, Crypto was definitely my favorite character in this movie.
I loved him.
Yeah, he was so awesome. But then we had him acting like a regular dog. He was because he was inspired by James Gunn's dog. And we had him, attack Clark when he was already, down. But then we had Crypto take Superman to the fortress. I love this fortress. This is the first time at least if I'm remembering correctly, in live action, that we had a fortress that actually ascended and descended back into the ground in live action.
Yes. Yeah.
It was, and I love that too, because you always gotta wonder, how in the world has no one ever found this fortress of solitude that is out somewhere in the Arctic, and yet this is the perfect way. It descends underground, so they can't see it. So not only does it have a lock that only his DNA can open, and you know, uh, it's perfect. It was so cool watching it come up and then go down and have the Superman logo on there. I mean, I just absolutely love that.
Oh, which by the way, on that, I have some theories um about that them using a Kingdom Come inspired logo. Um I think either one of two things is going to happen. The first thing is less likely, which is that Superman on that Earth is going to Kingdom Come is going to happen on that Earth. Or, which I think is more likely, they're just going to do like in the comics where it's on a different Earth. But it's going to be the Kingdom Come story, and that will be an Elseworlds movie.
Well, James Gunn has used the Kingdom Come. I don't know if it's like a comic page or a poster.
It was the
multiple
cover,
times.
or what? Not the current cover, but one of the covers when it first came out, I think.
He's used that multiple times.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that is like a setup.
I think eventually he is going to build up to Kingdom Come, but and then I think eventually build up to Crisis. So I think we will see both of those, but it's a process because as he's doing it, he's saying chapter one, and you got a process of everything. It's not going to happen overnight. So, I mean, our next movie is going to be Supergirl, and that's not till next year, but we're going to have all of these shows in between. Like we're going to have the Green Lantern series that's going to happen, which is going to tie in. And I'm not sure what other series he has that are tying in. That's just the one that I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Yeah. So, back to the fortress when the door, comic accurate, super cool. And then when it opens, we see the Superman robots, which again I think is the first time we're seeing in live action. And they were really cool. And I think one of them was actually practical too. It was actually a robot that moved.
Hmm.
But yeah, what did you guys think of the Superman robots?
I liked him. I think he kind of combined the comic and he combined my adventures of Superman. So we kind of got the comic book that he was going for, as well as my adventures of Superman by adding certain elements in. That's just an opinion, but
Yeah.
I thought that the robots tried too hard to be funny.
maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think sometimes he added a little bit of comic element in there, but he wanted to make this movie extremely kid friendly
Yeah.
because the first movie in his DCU had to be more kid friendly and not more suicide type vibe because everybody's used to James Gunn's stuff being R rated. So he was going for more kid friendly, anybody could go.
Like Lanterns is gonna be rated R, which I didn't know until recently.
Right. So,
So we're gonna have like Guy Gardner's gonna be dropping a bunch of F-bombs, I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
so Guy Gardner, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll actually get to him later too, because I have a lot to say.
By the way, he was great as Guy Gardner. Just to...
yeah, he was. What I said, I have stuff to say. They're all good things. Uh,
I I don't have anything bad to say about how he portrayed him at all. He was
Yeah.
portrayed perfect to a T.
Um. So next, after we see him being healed by the sun, uh, when we see the fortress come up. By the way, the soundtrack was so good here. I've been
Yeah.
listening to this soundtrack nonstop. Uh,
Of course, it had.
and we see him healed by the sun, which was I thought it was really cool, and you heard like kind of the bones cracking, kind of back into place. At least that's how I interpreted it. It was cool.
I love the soundtrack because you have, you know, I'm from an era. You got to remember, I saw the original Superman in the. I saw the Christopher Reeve version. Okay, not the original because there was a black and white version. I'm not that old, but I saw Superman the movie when I was 6 in the theater. Okay,
Yeah,
so I love the fact that they went back to that original soundtrack and just changed it a little bit um, with John Warner's version and made it just a little different. And but it was still the original John Williams version, but different with John Horner or Horn. I think that was his name. I sometimes mess up names, so if I messed up his name, I apologize. So um, I have it on my soundtrack too, and I've been listening to it nonstop because
yeah.
it is perfection. I love it. So it's very relaxing.
Well, yeah, it was, and then yeah, I've been listening, especially where he gets healed by the sun, and then um, we see a scene where Crypto destroys the fortress, um, and biting Superman's feet and stuff, which I thought was super cool, or super funny because that's actually what James Gunn's dog Ozzy, I think his name is, did to him. So that's why they put that in there. Um, yeah, and then this is where we also get our first look at the engineer. Um, so this is one of the parts of the movie where I don't know anything about the Authority. I didn't even know they existed until James Gunn did that like chapter 1 video.
All I know
Years
about
ago.
them is that they are not a hero group and not a villain group. They're kind of like gray in the gray area.
That's pretty much all I know about them too. They're not a villain and they're not heroes. They're kind of just in the gray, so they could go
Yeah.
either way. So at some point we may see her or some of the authority be more on the side of justice instead of on the side of you know I get the feeling that they're more out for themselves and not necessarily, at one point you hear her tell Lex, I put nanobites in my body for you, so it's almost like, she had a crush and you hear him say, Angela, what's going on, so it's almost like she has a crush on Lex or something, so it's almost like she put that stuff in her body for him, you know um or at least that was the vibe I picked up on that, instead of Miss Tessmacher being his number one crush, it was her. If that made any sense to you guys at all, did you kind of pick up on that?
I actually didn't, but now that you mentioned it, I'm kind of thinking back, and yeah. And
Because he
then,
calls her by first name.
yeah,
He says, I put the nanobites in my body for you, Lex.
yeah,
So, I picked up a vibe of, oh, well, she feels something for Lex, and that's why she did it. So,
Yeah. Well, and wasn't it said that Lex actually? So if he made the engineer, I wonder if he made the other members of the Authority.
I really don't know, but Lex is a master manipulator, and I think that's what people forget. He's very
Yeah.
suave. He's very debonair. He's a master manipulator. He gets what he wants. He's very uh, he's a billionaire who is self-made, and he usually gets what he wants. So he can get
Yeah.
women that he wants. So if he wants a woman to do something, whether he cares about them or not, he'll make them think he cares about them to do what he wants them to do.
I will say, and maybe this is like a bit overreach, but no other Superman movie has portrayed Lex Luthor perfectly until this movie.
Yeah. Oh, I
I would
I
agree.
completely agree. Now in TV we had Michael Rosenbaum,
Right,
but
yeah.
that's TV.
I would agree with you. This movie he was just portrayed exactly the way I think of Lex. The only small complaint that I had, and this wasn't enough to make me not like it, is I see Lex Luthor as being a little older because I think he should be a little more well established. He's a little young for what I see Lex as being. I think he should be a little more a little older, because to be as established as he is, I see him as a little bit older, maybe 10 years or so. But, that wasn't enough to make me not like him. But, you know, that was just one of my little, not like I said, it wasn't enough to make me not like him or like the movie. In fact, I think he nailed Lex Luthor to a T. But I wish they could have made him just look a little older in some capacity.
Yeah. Because I believe in Smallville that it was a 10-year age gap between Clark and Lex.
I don't think it was quite 10 years.
Yeah,
Oh
it
no,
was.
it probably was
It
about 10
was.
years. Yeah, it was.
It
Yeah.
was. And in this one, they looked more the same age. And so I wish they had have made it at least, maybe a little more of an age gap. But,
Yeah,
that
but
was my
yeah.
my small complaint, but not enough to make me not like it.
Yeah. And then speaking of that, from here, this is where we got the scene where we see Superman fighting the Hammer Bravia. Uh, what did we think about that? I was not expecting the twist that we'll talk about, pretty soon. Uh, with uh him, but what did you guys think of the fight scene? That first fight scene with that close-up shot of Superman flying towards them.
I thought that looked goofy as hell.
It did, actually.
It did, but I still liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. Uh, but yeah, this fight scene was cool, and then this is where we got, of course, the intro to Lex, where he's controlling the Hammer Bravia via thing on his ear and cameras. Which I thought was really cool. And then this is where we had the I was not expecting this kind of twist where the Hammer Bravia was Ultraman. Were you guys expecting that? Because I wasn't.
I didn't know what the Hammer of Bolivia is it?
Hammer Bravia, he's something just for this movie.
I didn't know who that was.
He was the guy in the back armor. He was the
no,
guy
I know who the
with.
character is in the movie. I didn't know about the character at all until the movie.
Yeah, because he's new to the movie.
I guess it really didn't surprise me that he was Ultraman, but I had no idea that that was going to be who he was when we get to the part of who Ultraman actually was. That kind of like shocked me the first time. I was like,
Oh,
whoa.
well, that actually part I was expecting because that's what Ultraman is in the comics, but he's just a clone of. I mean, not a clone, a Superman on a different Earth.
But it kind of shocked me. I mean, it didn't, but it did. So, I mean, I guess that was kind of to be expected. But the Baravia, I mean, it made sense that Ultraman was the one that was under there because that was just something
Yeah,
it made up. It made sense that if it was something that was so powerful that could take him down, it had to be a creation of Lex. I mean, it
yeah,
obviously was just the clone. I mean, Lex has a suit later in the comics, probably has already created one that he himself can get in. It's just as powerful.
I thought they were going to bring that into the movie, but they didn't do that.
I'm actually kind of glad they didn't bring it in yet. I would rather have that saved for later because we know Lex isn't done in the DCU.
Yeah.
Actually, James Gunn said that Lex Luthor is gonna have a pretty big part in the DCU going.
Well, I would suppose so.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody kept saying, "Who's going to be the villain? Who's going to be the villain?" And he's like, "Well, surprise, surprise, Lex Luthor's the villain." I mean, Lex is always going to be Superman's main villain until you start getting into, Dark Side and
Brainiac.
Well,
some of
speaking
the.
of Brainiac, he did an interview today, and it was announced that Brainiac was going to be the original villain of the movie, and then he switched out Brainiac for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I saw a theory that I agree with. It was from the same person who had the theory that I mentioned earlier about Randall Savage.
I'm wondering.
Do we think Brainiac was the one who altered the message? Because so we know from. I'm actually going to wait to get into that until we get to that part. So where were we? Okay, so this is where so we had that twist with him and Bravia being Ultraman, and then isn't this where we had that Pentagon scene where we got where Lex is actually introducing Ultraman officially, and then this is where we get the tease that it's Planet Watch.
I thought that name was so stupid.
Yes, it was.
So is that from the comics or no?
I don't know.
I don't know either, to be honest with you. I really don't think that it is. I think that was something that he made up, but I couldn't swear to you.
So we had that. I wonder if Planet Watch is going to become the Authority.
That may be.
Maybe. So from here, this is where we had that daily. Oh no! Well, first this is where we got Rick Flag Sr. back. I really like the Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr.
Yeah. From everything I heard, I thought he was going to have a bigger part in the movie. But he was
Me too.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a big part in Peacemaker Season 2, I think.
Yeah.
Because we didn't even get told in that movie that he's the director of Argus.
No.
We just know that because that's what James Gunn said a while back. And then we also got it from the Peacemaker trailer. Season 2 trailer. But yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, and then this is where I almost forgot. This is where we get a big lore drop that there is no kryptonite left on the planet. So,
which I think is interesting.
What are our theories on this?
Well, in the movie, didn't they say that like Superman gathered it up and like took it off world or something?
I don't think
Did
they
they
said
say?
that.
I don't think
I
they.
don't remember.
Did they say that in the
Well,
movie?
they had that prequel like kids book, and I think maybe they said something there, but I don't know.
Maybe Lex gathered it all up and took it somewhere.
Because we know there are points in the comics where Superman is like, well, even we saw it in live action where he doesn't like that kryptonite's out there, and he wants to be the only one who has it.
Right. Yeah.
But then, Batman knocks some sense into him and says, well, what happens if you go rogue? Uh, I forget what animated series that was. I think it was Justice League Unlimited where we had that scene where,
Well, there's a comic arc where
yeah,
Batman has a
in the
way
New
to take
52.
everyone down, including himself, and that backfires on him.
Well, yeah, I think that's the New 52 where he has contingency plans for everyone, and the reason why Superman ends up trusting him with the kryptonite is because Batman says because he asked him, "Oh,
I think that's called
what is
Justice
your
League.
contingency plan?" And he said, "The Justice League is." So that's when Clark was like, "Okay, you can have this now."
Well, at the end of that arc, I don't remember the name. I think Stranger was going to tell him at the end of that arc. Superman gives him the kryptonite bullet and says, "No one should be a god." But I don't remember the name of that arc.
The name I'm pretty sure is either Batman Doomsday or Justice League Doomsday.
I think it's Justice League Doomsday. They did an awesome animated on that particular one.
Yeah, Justice League Doom. That's the one I was watching yesterday.
That's it. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I fell asleep a quarter way through because it was not because I didn't like the movie. I actually liked it. I just was super tired.
Rewatch it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think I stopped. I think I fell asleep right when not long after Michael Rosenbaum's Barry was introduced. By the way, Michael Rosenbaum's amazing as Wally. I know we're getting sidetracked, but he's a great Wally, but I don't think he's Barry.
No. Yeah, no.
But anyway, back to Superman. So this Daily Planet scene. Oh no, sorry, we were on the Kryptonite. I don't really know. Maybe even Peacemaker season 2 will get something because James Gunn says we're gonna see some characters from Superman in
Peacemaker season
2, and he's not talking about Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, or Rick Flag Sr. or Maxwell Lloyd either.
I would be surprised, and it could be like I could be completely wrong, but if like one of the reporters, like maybe Cat Grant, it appears in Peacemaker season 2 as like reporting on the story involving August.
I think Superman's gonna cameo because
Really?
they filmed on sound stages next to each other. That's why Peacemaker cameo so easily.
Oh,
that'd be huge.
And Peacemaker, you think?
Yeah, because they filmed on sound stages next to each other at one point. Superman and Peacemaker season 2, like literally right in the same building. They were literally like separate sound stages. I don't really know what that means. I know because I'm not in that industry, but I know they're right next to each other. So like I think like there's a divider and you on one side is Peacemaker and one side Superman. So that's why I say he's probably gonna cameo.
I think that's a good possibility because I think there's a possibility that Superman and a lot of the heroes we saw will be in Peacemaker because James Gunn even said that was a possibility. So,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to leave it up in the air so that we have no idea whom.
So we can move on to the Daily Planet soon, I guess. Unless anyone has any remaining theories on what happened to the kryptonite.
My only theory is that Superman destroyed it so it can't be used against him.
Either that or it was maybe a factor that didn't involve him at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, so to the Daily Planet scene, I loved all these characters. Rachel Brosnahan, I think that's how you pronounce the name. That's
She's
how I heard
like
her say it. So, but she's my favorite Lois in the movies now.
same. Yes, same. I think
Maybe
I
even
would
my
even.
favorite Lois. Period. Honestly.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think Erica Durance has been topped for me.
It is so hard to top Erica for me though, because she's just so amazing in the role.
Well, I like all of the Lois Lanes. I mean, I really like this Lois. I absolutely
Me
loved
too.
her. So
Uh,
for me, it's
yeah.
going to me. She is Lois. She embodied every single thing. Erica Durant was awesome in the part, and I loved again. I liked. I can't remember her name. The
Betsy
one that
Tolak.
Bitsy
um,
Solak. I don't know
yeah,
if she goes
I
by.
like Bitsy because I really thought she looked the part. She reminded me of the person. I really liked the person that played next to Christopher Reeve. You got to remember, for me, I compared a lot of not Lex because honestly, Michael Rosenbaum played a great Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor. So, um, but as far as Christopher Reeve and Lois Lane, I always compared her as well. I just think that this Lois really hit it. She had everything that Lois should have in to me. She
Mhm.
just hit every ounce, and I loved how she for once was the one when he's sitting there and he's interviewing her, that she is the skeptic for once instead of being the one that's chasing him. He's chasing her. It's the opposite. And I love that about this movie. I
Mhm.
really did. So she really embodied what I see Lois as being, and especially
Yeah,
for this time frame.
and yeah, I feel exactly the same.
I I will
And
say I think Betsy Tolak was a great Lois Lane, but her and Tyler never had that banter for me
Mhm.
personally.
Mhm.
Not the
yeah,
same banter that Tom Welling, Erica Durance, and David Cornsweet and Rachel Brotherham have. They just never had that for me personally, and I feel like you need that for Lois and Clark, and they captured that perfectly.
well,
I
one question I do have, and this would probably be more for Amethyst because she'd probably know. So I always liked when Lois would call Clark Smallville, but is that a thing in the comics, or is that just a Smallville and Arrowverse thing?
I think that's a Smallville Arrowverse thing.
Okay, so then it wouldn't have been a complaint either way, but now it's even I
I
yeah.
because I don't remember that even from the Christopher Reeve movie because um, and like I said, I really to me what really made it it's the same thing that I say. The reason I loved this movie and I loved it so much. I have been waiting for years. I loved Christopher Reeve in the part because he could seamlessly go. If you want a good Superman, you got to have a Clark Kent that can go seamlessly to Superman that can make that change so seamlessly that you don't even know that he's gone from one to the other and back. Because in all reality, um, Superman is the mask that he wears. Clark Kent is who he is. Whereas Batman is who he is every single day. And Bruce Wayne is the mask that he wears, to give an example. And you have got to have that banner between Lois and Clark. And those two were so perfect as far as the banner of Lois and Clark together. And even with the Superman, the way that they talked back and forth when he was Superman and she would say Superman and he'd say Miss Lane, let's do this, and when they had to talk or whatever, it was perfect the way that they interacted. The chemistry was just, it's like it was almost electrifying. Um, you could just feel it. And I love that about it. So that was just perfect to me. So maybe I overspoke, but
Yeah.
that's what I've been looking for in both a Clark Kent and a Superman and a Lois Lane. I need that chemistry between all three. So, and I finally got it.
Well, another character I really want to talk about other than Lois is Jimmy. I think this is my favorite Jimmy Olsen. He was
Yes.
amazing. He was Jimmy Olsen to a T.
And I understand that like Supergirl's version wasn't comic accurate.
But I loved him too. I loved McCall Brooks.
I do too.
Yeah, he I mean, I had problems with his character, but it wasn't him. It was the writing.
Right.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like the same as the whole show, actually, that whole Supergirl show. It, the actors are great. It's the writing that's just so bad in that show sometimes.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
this is like
sometimes the side note for a second, when you watch a lot of times when I'm watching Supergirl, it's like I feel like I'm watching like how can I say this without without pissing people off? It it feels like sometimes I'm watching the real news when I'm watching that show because it gets just so political and like I'm here to watch a superhero show, you know.
Well,
but
and
yeah, no.
I didn't think this movie got over political.
Oh
And
no, it wasn't political at all. I don't think
Supergirl
fictional.
is more political, and she's more political. Her comics are more political in detail too. And I don't even watch the news because I don't like to get political, period. I don't like the news. The news stresses me out. I go to watch a comic book story and I don't want to bring in politics to it. I don't
Yeah.
go to watch. If I want to see politics, I'll turn on TV.
Well, this is what I was going to make a whole video on this, but I guess I can discuss it here and just like edit it out and then post it separately. Um, but so I tell people all the time, and some people get kind of confused on what I'm talking about because I've never heard this term like used before me. I call it fictional. There's a difference between fictional politics and real politics when it comes to superhero movies. So, like for example, a good example I use is like Civil War in Marvel. Um, if from us sitting here in the real world, that's not really a political thing. But like, but if you were a citizen or a civilian in that universe, you would probably consider that whole thing to be political. The Captain America Civil War, or it's not Captain America. in the comics, but it's just Civil War, you'd probably consider that, but in that I think is okay. Putting fictional politics in it, that's cool. Or like the Superman movie, how they did it, where I think the country, I'm not gonna even try to pronounce it because I know I'm gonna get it wrong.
Bolivia.
No, that country's real, but I think, but Johanpur, isn't that a fictional? If that is a real country, I've never heard of it. So, but I think that's fictional, right?
And that's slowly what the boys have kind of become. But
It's that way.
Yeah, see, and that's The Boys is actually, I don't watch it, but that's a good example actually too. Is that's pretty fictional politics and not really real politics, Like Supergirl is an example of they'd bring actually real politics into it. And
That's
that's
why
what
Supergirl gets on my nerves. I never could watch the show because they bring real politics into it.
Well, and here's
I
the
like
thing. I'm not saying I disagree with everything they're saying. I mean, I agree with some of it, but that doesn't mean I still like hearing it.
I like to
You know,
watch comics to get away from real world. I
yeah,
want
me
to
too.
watch, and get away from what we're seeing. It's the same reason I like to read a book. I want to read my books and get away from what we're seeing in real life and go to something that's, fun. And yeah, there's going to be some political stuff, but I would rather it be fake politics and not what's going on in real life. I don't want him to bring in real life politics into my comics. If you know, even Superman had some political stuff going on in it, but it wasn't necessarily real world politics of what we're dealing with right now. I don't want to see that kind of stuff. I'd much rather it be whatever it was that James Gunn cooked up because, then I can see it and sit there and go, ooh, yeah, I like this. Okay, because I'm not dealing with that. I'm dealing with this fictional world. This, it's a world, but it's a fictional world because last time I checked, there's not somebody flying around in tights in his underwear, saving the world from all these big baddies. And, I wish there were, but there's not. So until there is, that's fictional politics going on. So sorry, just my
But I
voice.
agree with Flash Freak that this is the best Jimmy Olsen we've had.
Yeah, getting back to that story, that was just a little side hint. That was my fault. But yeah, I love this Jimmy. He was incredibly funny in this movie. It's funny at first. And now I can't believe I confused them. But at first, I thought this actor was the same actor who played. Boy, I don't know if I really thought they were the same, but I just mixed them up. With the actor who played Jimmy Olsen in Superman and Lois, because they both look so much like Jimmy. I kind of mixed them up, but
I love the fact he was a little bit of a womanizer too, which was
oh,
really
I really loved it. I just saw a meme.
Yes.
I just saw a meme the other day where it was like, how they call like Ned in the MCU, they call him like the CEO of sex,
Yes.
because that scene where they also like, it's like where he made the greatest sacrifice in the MCU was by Ned when the principal, I think it was, walked in and said, "What are you doing?" And he lied and goes, "I was looking at porn." That was so. In that, I think that's even a greater sacrifice than what Peter did at the end of Homecoming. I mean, at No Way Home. I don't know. No, I'm kidding, obviously. But yeah, this Jimmy was. I can just mention this a little bit now, but we're going to do it more later. But his kind of like relationship, quote unquote, with Eve.
I thought that was kind of like boring, to be honest.
It was pretty funny. Oh, and I can just get on that because I didn't mention it earlier. Um,
Well, I don't think it was boring. I just didn't really care for it.
well, yeah, well, I actually this Eve. So I don't know Eve from the comics, but I know how Eve is supposed to be. At least I think because I heard the version on Supergirl was actually a very comic accurate Eve, in terms of her personality. I don't know about the story arc she has, but I mean,
I
in terms
don't
of
know if it's the
personality.
same character. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I was done anyway.
I don't know if it's the same character, but did they make Eve Lex's sister in Smallville?
Eve wasn't in Smallville, I don't think, was she?
Because Tess had the same name as Eve, or had the same last name. It was Tessmacher.
I thought it was Mercer.
Was it Mercer?
Yeah, it was Tess Mercer.
Okay.
Yeah, I just rewatched Smallville not long ago. But, by the way, that's a good rewatch. It's just I don't rewatch it as much as other shows because like I just 10 seasons is a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, even The Flash can sometimes be like a tedious.
Well, that's almost 10 seasons.
Yeah, that's 9 seasons.
The
And I
only,
love The Flash, and I'm saying that, but
the only Eve Tessmacher that I know was in Supergirl and the version from Young Justice.
I
I don't
haven't.
really.
I've actually started watching Young Justice, but I kind of paused.
Nice.
But I was watching Young Justice. I started season 1. Well,
I'm
because
surprised her brother wasn't in the movie.
Well, just side note on Young Justice for a second. I didn't. The reason I didn't watch Young Justice was because I thought it was like heavily like geared towards kids, like not how like a lot of shows are still for like geared towards kids, but
Yeah.
not geared towards kids, but kid friendly. But you
Right.
can still watch them as an adult. Like Power Rangers Time Force is like that for me. But I didn't know that Young Justice isn't even rated for kids. I think it's rated either
Well,
PG or TV-14, which is the same as Naruto. And
Well, I do
Naruto
know
gets pretty violent.
that when it came back, it geared towards a more adult audience.
So that's a question, actually. Sorry, just a side note, but the team wasn't even going to be just for Superman anyway. So, but what? Because on HBO Max they have the title is that subtitle thing it had when it came back. It was Young Justice, and then it has called something else after it. But what season is the one where it changed and came back to Max?
Wait.
Is it season 4? Because I think that's the last season. Because
Are you
then,
saying like what season did they bring it back?
Yeah.
Season 3.
Okay. Just so I know. Okay. So back to Superman. So we had that stuff with Jimmy. Oh yeah, I was mentioning the stuff with Eve. I thought she was pretty accurate. I don't know her in the comics, so Amethyst would know better.
I will say though that, and this is just like a small thing. It's not really like important, but the fact that they cast a redhead for Jimmy Olsen was really cool because they've always like cast non-redheads for Jimmy Olsen role. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then, and I love this version of Perry White. Part of I am kind of biased because I just love Wendell Pierce. He was in. I actually most of you, like you guys might know him from the MCU.
He was not.
Yeah, he was in Thunderbolts, but I don't. I know him from Suits.
Right, he played
Rachel's
Rachel's
dad.
dad. Yeah,
Yeah, he was really good in that show.
yeah. That's the only thing I know him from. I didn't see him
Yeah,
in
me
the
too.
MCU.
I didn't see Thunderbolts.
I haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
But he had the cigar, which he has in the comics. They couldn't show that on Superman and Lois because I'm assuming because TV rules with smoking. That's why
Right.
they never gave what's his name? It's either Dr. Bones or Mr. Bones, the guy in
Constantine?
Stargirl. He smokes the cigar in the comics, but they didn't show it in the show because of that rule.
Well, I know that's why they never showed Constantine smoking.
No, they showed Constantine smoking. He smoked like a chimney in the Arrowverse.
Okay.
Yeah, there was actually a scene in Crisis on Infinite Earth where he was doing a spell, and this is when Barry was like still kind of he was grieving with all of his death, and he was there was when he had him doing the spell for the Lazarus pit, and he lights the cigarette, and Barry goes, "Can you take your smoke break later, dude?" And then he goes, "Simmer down, Speedy. This is the spell." I tried to do that. Amethyst, if you are trying to talk, we can't hear you. You're muted.
But yeah, I didn't really know much about Eve Tessmacher until
Sorry, I was muted for a minute.
Oh, that's okay. Just, we were just talking about how we don't really know Eve from the comics, but I heard this Eve is very accurate because it's like the one on Supergirl, and I heard the Eve on Supergirl was very comic accurate as far as her personality, at least.
Yeah, she's pretty accurate. She's kind of just very, very, well, just kind of a blonde. I hate to say a blonde, a dumb blonde.
Yeah.
I hate to say
it's
that
okay.
because,
You can
you know
say it
what?
on this
I'm
stream.
blonde, and I have those blonde moments, and I'll say, "Huh? What do you mean?" And people, it's like, look at the hair.
That was
Blonde.
just the big thing when I was a kid, and I never knew what it meant until I was an adult. I still really don't know where it came from. Anyway,
I do know that in some comics she is a robot.
Eve?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that really does fit her personality for the comics, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've read like old Superman comics, but you know, and my memory's not that good because I'm old. So, I'm old. I'm still blonde. I'm not that old, but I'm 55. So compared to you youngins, I'm old-ish. So. And you're only as old as you feel. But I read the original Superman comics when I was 6, and some of that stuff is not as fresh in my head.
You're younger than my mom, so
I know. Listen, I've got people on TikTok that call me their TikTok mom. So
we call I think we jokingly called you the mom of the stream when we were still doing
the
midweek freak or media freaks.
We did. Doesn't bother me.
But anyway, yeah, from so we had that Daily Planet scene, and then we had this might have been where we had that Pentagon scene, but I may have mixed them up. But they say after this is when we get the Daily Planet scene with yeah, I do think this is where we have that Pentagon scene, so I did mix it up, but we can just go on to, since we already discussed it, when Lois gets and oh, by the way, this isn't a complaint by any means, But I thought it would have been funny if when Lois walked in her apartment and thought like there was an intruder, she actually whacked Clark over the head,
Well, that's
thinking
what I thought
it
was
was
going to
someone.
happen.
I thought that
That's
would have
what
been
I
so
thought was
funny
going to happen too.
because it wouldn't have mattered because it wouldn't have hurt him.
Right.
And then it just breaks the bat. That would have been hilarious. But then we got that banter where he was making breakfast for dinner because
And
that's
that
all he
is
really knows.
actually a comic book thing. In the
Really?
comics, yes, that is a comic book thing. In the comics, he
Oh,
loves
Oh.
breakfast for dinner. That is a comic book Easter egg. So in the old comics, he likes breakfast for dinner. She does, and he does.
I
I
mean,
didn't know
So
that.
I mean, who doesn't
yes,
like breakfast for dinner?
um,
I personally, I mean, well, because like for example, I work out and I'm very like conscious about what I put in my body. So eggs aren't something only for breakfast. I eat eggs, whatever
eggs are very
time of the
healthy.
day. Yeah, they're really good for you. Yeah. Um,
Oh.
and we have them here. We can get them. You can actually get them. We have a ranch near us, but they're super expensive. Um, but yeah, and then we had. So we know I forgot to bring up, but we know that they have been going out for 3 months.
Yes.
Well, they say a few months, but James Gunn said 3 months, I think.
Actually,
So.
they
They said that in the
do
movie, I
clarify
thought.
that in the movie and say
Yeah.
3 months. Towards the end,
Okay.
did you not catch that at the end of the movie? Towards the end of the movie, they clarify that, and Perry White says, "How long's that been going on?" And Jimmy Olsen said, "Oh, about 3 months."
Yeah.
With the
Oh,
Superman,
okay. He
they
does say
clarify
3, but
it.
I didn't catch that. But
Yeah,
but we can get to that scene later. But I guess it's small. We can bring it up now. But with that scene at the end, uh, how are people not gonna put it together now that like Superman?
they won't. But I think Perry White. Obviously, Jimmy knows. Okay, Perry White probably knows, but Perry White in the comics does eventually find out or puts it together, but he keeps it a secret.
Yeah.
Jimmy also keeps it a secret. So they're two of the people that do figure it out, but they just kind of go da 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 da,
That's
and
what
you
Lois
don't
does
know.
in Smallville.
That's a comic thing.
Does she do that in the comics too, Lois?
Well,
Because in
Lois
Smallville,
obviously knows. See, here's the thing that I never could figure out from the original movies why Superman had to give up his powers when in the old Superman. Well, there was a reason for that. Back when the old Supermans came out and Superman 2 came out in 1981, there was a reason he had to give up his powers. At that point in time, and a lot of people probably don't know this trivial fact. At that point in time, they had not written it in the comics in 1981 for Superman, for Lois to know his identity yet, and for them to be together yet. So they had to come up with something, and that's why he had to give up his powers and wasn't allowed to have them. So that is why they did it that way. It was in the 90s when Lois and Clark came out. At that point, they wrote it in that she finds out that he is Superman and she falls in love with Clark Kent first. And when she falls in love with Clark Kent first, and they have a romance, and then eventually it takes them like 70 years before they ever get married. So in the comics. So but that's a little
you
trivial
mean like
fact.
I thought for a second you meant like 70 years like in real time, and I was like, what the hell?
Oh.
No, it took them 70 years in the comics before they wrote it in.
Yeah.
So that is why in Superman 2 in with the Christopher Reeve movies, they had to write in that he had to give up his powers. And I never could figure that out. But when I rewatched the movies, And then I was reading up on it. It's like, oh, at that point in time, they hadn't written it in the comics yet. Just a little trivial fact that people didn't know. Now, at this point, they have written it in so they can do that. So, but, for anybody that was wondering why he had to give up his powers back then, it was done that way because they hadn't written it in comics. So they didn't want to allow them to be together. And that's why in that particular movie, they said, does she love you? And he's like, yes, but she didn't love Clark Kent. She only loved Superman. So she had to learn to love Clark Kent. And in Smallville, she had to learn to love Clark Kent before she, Superman. So even in
Yeah.
so
And and then when Lois finds out, she doesn't tell him. She lets
right,
him tell her, which I
right,
love.
right.
Well, by the way, I feel like that is like such like a I yeah, I feel like that's something that I would probably do in real life. If you know if like Kryptonians existed and my uh you know si- significant other was a super person, I would and I found out, I would probably let them tell me. I don't
Well,
know.
that was just a little trivial fact. It didn't have anything to do with this movie, but you
Yeah.
know, I really, what I would say is I really enjoyed the fact that they were already out, and the fact they did have, you know, I don't know if you got to the part where they were in the interview yet, where they sat down, because I heard you say about the bat. I really
Yeah,
honestly thought he was going to
I,
hit him over the
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
yeah.
I thought that would have been really. Who knows?
That would have
Maybe.
been a comical moment where everybody would have laughed, where he would have it would have been
Well,
Lois.
maybe it's. This is a side note, but it kind of blends into what we're talking about. I did pre-order the DVD, and which is a good thing I did it immediately because they're out of stock
Is it an
now.
extended version or is it the one?
Well, I
Because
don't. The runtime is 2 hours and 9 or 10 minutes.
oh well, that's just the regular version. I'm hoping they're going to do an extended version because the original version was like 4 hours and 20 minutes. He cut that much out of the movie.
I
I didn't know.
never.
See, when you said that, that was a surprise because I thought that was just a plan for. I knew that was originally like Revenge of the Sith. Episode
Yep,
3 of Star Wars was
four
originally like
hours and
that
20
too.
minutes.
So, but that's why when he brought it up when we were messaging, I thought that's what you were talking about for a second. But then you said Superman, and I was like, oh,
I don't think I've really seen the Christopher Reeves movies. I've only seen Superman Returns, I think.
I've seen the first Superman, original Superman, but I haven't seen the other. I heard 2 and 3 are good, and I heard the fourth one.
Superman
It
2 is the best of all of them.
really? Oh, I thought the original was the best.
No, Superman 2, in my
Oh.
opinion, is the best one.
And then the third one, isn't that where we get an adult tool as Lana Lang?
Yeah, she's in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
I
then that
really
was,
think the second one is the best. So,
who's
where,
the villain in the second one? Is it still Lex?
yeah, it's
I
still Lex, but,
Yeah.
I
you know,
did think that the cameo by Christopher Reeve's son in the movie was really cool.
Yeah, so I didn't
yes,
catch that at first. I didn't catch that until I saw him on the red carpet or at the premiere, not red carpet. Um,
that was a really good point. The
actually,
cameo.
side note too, since we're talking about Will Reeve, I didn't finish it. I started a couple different things. I started watching the Superman documentary. Um,
Oh, that's excellent.
yeah, I did kind of. Oh no, I remember this one. I kind of stopped because it was getting kind of emotional, and I still stopped it temporarily, and I was gonna come back. That's what I had to do for like Superman and Lois season 3. Some episodes I'd have to stop, come back, and I don't even have a personal connection to that storyline. But still, it was just
I did see the first Christopher Reeve Superman movie. I just never watched the sequels. I just
Oh,
I just saw the first one and Superman Returns.
yeah, I saw that. I haven't seen the Supergirl movie. I'm actually gonna
I've
watch
never
that.
watched that.
I'm gonna
It's all
watch
right.
it.
It's all right.
Is it in the Christopher Reeve universe?
It's in the same universe, but it's
Okay.
all right. I mean, eh.
I
Is
do
she
know
a good?
that
Is she a
Supergirl in
good
the
at?
movie is the mom in Supergirl.
Yeah, Helen Slater.
Oh.
I think she's also in Smallville.
She is.
Yeah.
Who did she play in Smallville?
I forget. Oh no, she played Kara's mom. I think.
Um,
I think but she played her biological mother this time in Smallville.
yeah, she paid her biological mom.
And then in
Uh,
Supergirl, she played her adoptive mother.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, back to Superman. We should probably speed this up since I don't know if you guys have to go. But next up, we have that fight scene, and this is where the Justice Gang first appears. But this is where I actually heard for the first time in the movie where the score actually sounded like an exact carbon copy of the original theme.
Yeah, I love
This is
the
where the
score.
first time I spotted it, and it was really cool. I thought the context of that scene where he said, "Hey, buddy, eyes up here." I thought that scene, the context was going to be comedic, where like maybe like people were making fun of his trunks or something, and then but it wasn't. It was
where he's
more of a
fighting
serious context.
where he's fighting the
Kaiju.
Godzilla monster.
Yeah, the kaiju. Which kaiju's aren't actually. Well, I only know this because not really anymore, but I used to watch a lot of anime, and kaiju is a big thing in anime too. There's actually an anime. I don't know if it's an anime yet, but it's at least a manga called Kaiju Number 8. So, not just a thing in DC. There's thing, but pretty much fantasy, science fiction in general, they exist. But then we get the introduction of the Justice Gang.
I loved Guy Gardner.
Oh,
I loved Mr. Terrific. I thought he was
Oh, Mr.
awesome.
Terrific was awesome. He
Yeah.
needs a movie of his own.
oh, sorry, we didn't discuss the interview yet, did we?
No,
What
we didn't
interview?
do that.
Okay, so sorry, let's go back to that for a second. Okay, I really love this, especially when Clark yelled, "People were going to die!" Like that's Superman for me. You know, that's the only thing he cares about. He doesn't care about he doesn't care about who he's saving. He doesn't care about where you come from. He doesn't care about anything. He just wants to save every life possible.
Well, I think not to like drift off course, but I think that is summed up perfectly with what he says to Lois about Crypto.
Yeah.
He says he's not a good dog, and he's not a nice dog, but he's out there and he's scared and he's afraid, and I need to find him. And I thought that like sums up Superman perfectly.
See, at first I thought that was just more of a comedic scene, and I think that's a reason too, because it was actually just funny, like it got laughs in the theater. But yeah, it was still I can see that context definitely.
Have we got to the part where Lois takes him back to his parents to heal?
But that's way after. That's after he breaks out of the
Okay.
the prison. But then we had the thing where Lois says, "Oh, I knew this wouldn't work," and then Oh god, you can see Clark's. I feel like Clark's heart was breaking right there in that moment because like
Yeah.
he's like, oh, you know, you could see his face in that scene, like he knew he didn't like, uh, he was kind of being an ass. I mean, he doesn't mean to, but that's actually we can just mention quickly that because we probably won't mention it as part of regular discussion of that last post credit scene where it was that kind of comedic thing where
I thought
Mr.
that was so
Terrific,
funny.
yeah, but it was kind of like he's not trying to be an asshole. He just kind of comes off as one sometimes. Uh, but like there's that comedic scene during the interview where Lois goes, "Do you think this is going well?" Clark sits down and says, "I think I'm doing a good job." um, but
Well, yeah, I loved where she sits down and she's like, "So Superman," and she's like, "Okay, Cronkite, let's do this." You know,
yeah, I
but
think, and I had to look that up when I saw the trailer. Cronkite is, I guess, just like a real life journalist, like from
yeah, he
back in the
was.
day.
He
Yeah.
he was gosh, now you're making me feel really old. He was a journalist that on like NBC News, I believe, for years. Passed away. So
Oh. Well, okay, so now we can go back to the Justice Gang stuff. I really liked the only thing, and again, it's not a complaint, like how, but it's just something that I kind of wish could have happened. Where in the comics, Mr. Terrific doesn't have that kind of thing he was in. He literally stands on his T-spheres.
Oh yeah.
I kind of wish we got that instead, but that could have easily been because that would have been uncomfortable as hell to film for the
Oh,
actor.
I actually had a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just an Arrowverse thing. I really don't care. I just wanted to know: is he gay in the comics, or is that just an Arrowverse thing?
I had that same question too, but I didn't want people to take it the wrong way. That's why I didn't ask it. So actually, thank you for bringing it up. I
I really
don't
don't
know.
know because I don't know that much about Mr. Terrific.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
honestly
I mean,
think
not. I
I
don't
think it's
really.
an
Not that
Arrowverse
it
thing.
matters. I don't. I mean,
I
who really
actually
cares?
think it's an Arrowverse thing, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
The only reason I'm gonna say it's an Arrowverse thing, and I hope this does not come off the wrong way, um, but they might have been doing it just I don't know. I think it
Because
may have been just a TV thing or just a
and
CW
the
thing.
reason I say that is James Gunn would have had no problem portraying it,
Right. Yeah.
No, he would have had no issue at all.
Exactly.
and he did not. So because he did not, that's what makes me think it was just an Arrowverse thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Gunn would not have. Yeah, James Gunn has. I mean, James Gunn isn't. He had that thing years ago, but that was all. He's a changed person now. I don't even know the whole context of what happened, so that's why I'm not really speaking specifically on it. But
No. Yeah. I just want to know.
yeah,
He would
he's
have had
a.
no problem portraying him if he was portrayed in the comics as being gay. So
Well,
I really don't think he would have had that he was in the comics. So
to be fair though, there wasn't really a situation where he would have been natural to bring it up anyway.
I think when we get the DVD that is the extended version, we'll be able to get more intel on a lot of this stuff. Um, and even like the questions you have about Vandal Savage, because this is the Kendra version of Hawk Girl. So since we're starting leading into the Justice Gang, it's not the Shiara version. This is the Kendra version.
So I was actually really confused on that, and Lance kind of tried to correct me a couple times on it. Tried being the key word, so I actually learned finally it wasn't his fault that I wasn't understanding it. It was mine, but I learned, I just watched something that explained it. So Kendra is the reincarnation of Shayara, who
Right.
was the one
Yeah.
we saw in the Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was also Kendra, but I mean, we got it referenced that she was the reincarnation of Shiara. However, the one that, and the reason I saw this explained in the video was because there, Isabella Merced mentioned that they could do the Jon Stewart Hawkgirl relationship, but
And
that is
that's
a different, that's a different
right. Yeah.
Hawkgirl.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's where my confusion lied because I thought all the Hawkgirls were the same and they were just different reincarnations. But no, they
No.
literally were different characters.
Right.
But however, some people say that Kendra, like they word it in a way where Kendra isn't Shiara. Well, she isn't, but she's the reincarnation, and
And I'm
the
pretty
Arrow
sure. And I'm pretty sure that relationship is only in the animated series.
DCAU, yeah.
Right.
Uh, but anyway, yeah. So this Justice League, I really love Miss Terrific. Other than that, well, it's not even a complaint. But I love Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Hawkgirl we didn't see much of, but I like Isabella Merced, so that's why. Uh,
The one critique I have of this movie, and it's
is it the
very
mask?
no, it's very very small, and it's very very like minimum. I just found her screaming to be so annoying.
Me too. Me too.
I didn't like it either. So
I wonder if that was actually her screaming. Maybe
I
that's why
found
it
it
sounded unnatural because it wasn't actually the actor.
maybe. I just
Maybe
found it
that
to be really random and annoying.
because, like, for example, in the Flash show, whenever they'd have a speedster talk in their vibrated voice, it was always the actor. But it was different every time because it would be different because the actors' voices are different. The only time it was a different actor was with Zoom, but that was different.
Yeah.
Well, Savitar doesn't count because the voice was from the suit, not his speedster voice, but I'm assuming. But anyway, yeah, and then Guy Gardner, I have so much to say on Guy Gardner. He was so good. Nathan Fillion, I was worried actually, like a lot of people, because it looked like James Gunn does like to work with, or he does like to work with people he's worked with before, and I was worried because I hope that didn't mean, oh, even if they don't fit the character, I'm still gonna do it. But in this case, Nathan Fillion fit Guy Gardner to a T. And of course, it's funny. James Gunn jokes because they're friends in real life. Uh, but he jokes. James Gunn will joke the reason he fit Guy Gardner so well is because Nathan Fillion's a jerk. But they're obviously it's a joke because they're best friends like in real life. But
did you know
yeah,
that actually Nathan Fillion is the one that insisted on the bowl cut?
I didn't know that.
James Gunn was not going to do that to him. And Nathan Fillion's like, no, 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 no. I want this to be as comic.
Oh.
Nathan Fillion is a comic geek. Okay. He's like, I want this to be as comic accurate as possible. So they showed a scene where he sits down and he has James Gunn taking the bowl and basically cutting the wig with it on there and giving him the bowl cut. And he actually did that because James Gunn wasn't going to do it. He's like, no, no, I want it. I want it to be as accurate as possible.
I guess maybe that's where that joke came in because there was like when they were marketing for the movie, they did like a behind the scenes thing, and James Gunn was talking about we should bleach his sideburns so Nathan has to go around all the time with bleached sideburns, and he was like, but I'm right here, like as a joke, but I guess that's where the joke came from then.
Yeah, that's what the joke came from because he was right there. I mean, he would have had his sideburns bleached if if necessary, but he was already doing the bowl cut because the wig didn't originally have it. So, and he wanted it to be as accurate as possible.
The only thing about the hair is I don't know Guy Gardner, but I've seen clips of him in the animated series and pictures from comics, and his hair is more red.
Now that was a James Gunn thing. James Gunn didn't want his hair to be as red, so he just kind of made it strawberry. But
Well, I will say though, I'm imagining right now. I'm trying to put the red hair on the bowl cut on Nathan Fillion's head, and in my head it doesn't look good. So maybe that's why it wouldn't have looked good on screen.
I think that's why he didn't do it. But
But
he
the
still
thing is,
gave it
I
a
don't really
cut.
care if
It
it
was
doesn't
close
look good.
enough. For me, it was pretty daggone comic accurate.
Yeah,
So I was happy with it.
maybe he dyes his hair in the future. Who knows?
I liked it, and I
Um,
thought that Nathan Fillion nailed it, and I absolutely loved him going through and doing the fingers throughout the whole thing. That is such a Guy Gardner thing because Guy Gardner isn't, excuse my language, he is a jerkwad in the
well,
comics.
and that's my question. I'm like, if he's that much of an ass, how is he a Green Lantern?
He
Isn't
just
that
is.
kind of like a requirement? You have to at least be somewhat of a nice person.
Ah, well,
I guess will can sometimes be a bad thing, right?
he's but no, what you have to do is protect the people. He
That's
does
true.
that, and he protects his quadrant to a T. So there's nothing in that code that says he has to be nice. He just has to protect.
Well, unless you ask him in the movie, then he'll probably make up that it's part of the vows.
I
like
mean, Val,
but,
there's nothing that says he has to be a nice guy. He just has to protect.
this doesn't come till a little later, but I'll just bring it up because it's on my mind. It was really funny when they were on the Hall of Justice, and he goes he goes, listen, as part of these vows, I cannot get involved in politics. But obviously that's complete BS. And he goes, it's implied. And and then Hawkgirl goes, every time there's something he doesn't want to do, he says it's a part of the vow. Uh, but
I loved the whole Justice Gang. Mr. Terrific stole the show.
I
Gar yeah, that's why when you asked me should Supergirl have been in it, I said no because the three people of the Justice Gang already was enough. And bringing up the Justice Gang when they were sitting in the hall of the Justice Hall or the Hall of Justice, there's a mural and you can spot the boots of the Flash. I also spotted Amethyst, which of course I spotted Amethyst, which is a magic user from the future. There were probably 8 or 9 other heroes. That's just one that I spotted because I recognized her garb. But the others, it went by too quick, and even the second go around, I that's when I spotted her. Second go around, I really focused in. There were several others, but I just couldn't get it. But I did recognize 2 different flashes. So but he's already canonized that there's going to be Tate Barrick, Wally West, and then uh, the Bart, or
Bart Allen.
yeah, Barry Allen, yeah. So there's going to be three flashes. So
Doctor Fate was also on the
oh yes,
wall.
Doctor Fate was also on there. That was the other one.
wait, so
Did see him.
when did James Gunn say that there's going to be 3 Flashes?
Oh, I don't know. In some interview, he said that and you have to remember in Creature Commandos, the way that it ended, we know that there's going to be Wonder Woman, Batman, um,
Yeah.
and we saw all of that in that end scene where we're seeing them on the stakes and stuff. So that's canon to his universe.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we know we're getting Teen Titans, so maybe Wally will show up in that.
I will say that one of my I laughed and I thought it was really funny when Lois Lane said that haircut should be against your vows.
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
know,
get
that
to
was
that. Yeah, that was
hysterical.
really funny.
That was hysterical. It really should be against his vows. That was hysterical. That haircut should be against your vows. And Guy Gardner just looked at her like, "What do
What?
you
By
know?"
what should be what?
I know. I thought he was going to cuss her out.
Well, it's PG-13, but
Did he give her a finger? I don't remember.
well, no, they had the middle finger thing later. Uh, I'm surprised they were able to. I heard that's what solidified the PG-13 rating. I heard it actually could have been lower than PG-13 if they didn't have the
Well,
middle
there were a
fingers.
couple of times that they did cuss and that was
Yeah.
made at PG-13 as well. But, he wanted this movie to be kid friendly. I mean, he's going to have other movies that will be rated R. That
Yeah,
will
like
not be.
Clayface is gonna be. I heard super horror, which actually worries me because I don't really like horror movies. So
And I'm pretty sure that the Bane and Deathstroke movie will be very hardcore.
Are they still doing
okay,
Swamp
I'm
Thing?
obviously missing a lot of stuff because we're getting a Bane and Deathstroke movie.
A what
Yes,
movie?
yes.
When was this? Jesus.
It was announced a while ago.
What movie?
There was a period of time a little bit ago where I wasn't really tuned into social media because I was on a break from it.
Yeah, they just hired. I think they just got a script done for it.
For
Okay.
what movie?
For a Bane and Deathstroke movie.
Huh. I didn't know about that one.
I hope we don't get into the whole thing we did with Sony with the villain universe because that was terrible.
Well, if Gunn is the one behind everything, it won't be terrible because he's going to pull it all together. So, and I
Yeah.
feel like he's going to end up with what he's aiming for is the Justice League and the Legion of Doom. So
Yeah.
he's got to set up the Legion of Doom. He's got to set up the Justice League. So, and it's
Yeah.
going to take him probably 10 years to get all that set up.
Well,
Speaking of
yeah.
like Batman and that like whole genre of DC, he did say that he's a huge fan of Alan Richardson, and Alan Richardson has been campaigning to be Batman.
Yeah, I
Yes, he
just
So
saw
has
that.
for a while.
But I like what James Gunn said though, where the quote he basically ended the quote by saying, "It all just depends if he fits." I mean, this isn't me paraphrasing it. He basically said, "Well, yeah, at the end of the day, it depends if he fits the role or not."
Right.
and I would be all for that.
Well, and I'm sure that Jason Ackles is still campaigning to be Batman as well.
Huge
He
feel
wants
too
to be
CW to
Batman
me
forever.
personally.
Yeah, I don't think he's a good voice of Batman, but I don't know about
I
live
don't know.
action.
I think he could pull it off.
But
So,
but anyway, continuing with Superman, the next thing we got after the Justice game when introduced was Lex, Eve, Lex, Eve, Ultraman, and the Engineer
Hmm?
breaking into the fortress
Yeah.
with Superman's DNA, which
Yes.
obviously we already mentioned that's because we get it revealed later that Ultraman's a clone.
And I
Which
feel like that pretty much gave it away.
Well,
right.
I thought it was going to be that anyway because that's who he is in the comics. He's more not a clone, but he's a alternate version of Superman. He's
To be
an
honest, I
alternate.
think it would have been much more interesting if
Yeah.
they made Superboy Ultraman.
So I thought it would have been cool if I was thinking. So my first theory was that it was just going to be what it was, and then my second one was it was going to be James Gunn under the mask. Just because I got weird vibes from that up close picture he took of the mask for behind the scenes, like that I implied from that it was like kind of a joke post where he was
Uh,
going to end up being Ultraman, and that was how he was going to cameo in the movie. I really wish James didn't cameo in the movie. Like I want him to be the like DC Stan Lee. Basically what I mean by that is like he just cameos randomly in every movie, and it can even be the stupidest thing, but it would just be funny. But from here we got where the engineer. So this is where you can have a couple different theories. I originally thought because they took this story from Smallville where where the message says that Clark was or Superman was sent there to rule over the planet.
that was in Smallville?
Yeah, that was the Smallville thing. But it was a different context because in Smallville, Clark was just misreading the message.
I mean,
I
I'm not.
don't remember that being in Smallville.
I don't either.
Yeah, that was the plot point in Smallville. He was the message he got. It first read that he was.
I know that they also took the name Luthor Corp from Smallville.
Yeah, that was another change I liked. So they took a lot of things from Smallville in this movie. However, in the movie, it's not said whether Lex actually faked the second part or he actually just.
No, I'm pretty sure it
the
was
second
accurate
part.
because even Mr. Terrific said that that's too that's too real to be altered.
Yeah, but we know Lex. He's smart, so who knows? Well, no, but this is where my theory comes in that the message was doctored, but it wasn't Lex who doctored it.
You think it was Brainiac?
I think Brainiac did something to the ship, and that's what damaged the message in transit.
Do you think Brainiac was actually part of the bang? Do you? I have a theory that possibly Brainiac's going to show up in Supergirl.
Well, I haven't read Woman of Tomorrow. I'm assuming the Woman of Tomorrow movie, since he changed the title to just Supergirl, I assume it's not going to be a one-to-one adaptation because you can't really do those in live action anyway.
Well,
Even in animation, it's hard.
Eventually Brainiac becomes her love interest in the future, but if Brainiac shows up in Supergirl, that would make sense because Lobo's not going to be. Lex is going to be the villain. He's already said Lex is going to be her villain too. So
He
it
did?
makes sense. Yes.
No, Lobo's going to be. I thought Lobo was the villain of Supergirl.
No, Lex is going to be the villain.
Oh, he is? I'm missing a lot of stuff.
Wait, Lex is going to be the villain? I thought that was Lobo.
Yeah, I
Lobo's
thought
going to
that was
be
Lobo
in it,
too.
but Lobo's not going to be the villain. Lobo's going to be, I guess, maybe somewhat of a villain, but he said that Lex is going to be the villain. It's going to be her villain too.
Okay.
So that means that we could see Brainiac. I don't know where Lobo's going to fit in.
Well,
but I saw something the other day that said Supergirl's villain is going to be Lex also, which means we're probably going to see Superman and probably some of the Justice Gang in her movie also.
Well,
okay, I have to go now.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
You have to go?
Yeah. It was.
Well, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Anytime. It was fun chatting.
Yeah.
It was nice meeting you.
We've met before.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have. It's been a long time since I've seen anybody.
Okay.
So, I'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, anyway, I was going to say, let's hope that Supergirl doesn't find out that Lex was the one who kidnapped Crypto because she's not going to be very happy.
No, and she's actually OP. She's a little in the comics.
Isn't she
got
stronger
more
than
power.
Superman?
Yes, in the comics she is because she is on Earth longer than he is. So,
well, how's the show? I heard the show wasn't entirely accurate to the comics, but in the show they did it where she was actually 12 when Krypton exploded, and her
Right.
pod got trapped in the Phantom Zone. That's why she was younger.
Yeah, well, that's not exactly how it is in the comics. In the comics, she's actually she's a little more powerful than Superman. So,
Uh,
because she's already got a lot of her powers and stuff when she
uh,
gets there. But
okay.
it's been a long time since I've read that, and I really never read Supergirl. But I know that I saw something the other day, but it's something from James Gunn that he said, surprise, surprise, that she was going to. I know I saw it. Now I may be wrong, so don't hold me
Was it the new
100%
poster?
accountable. That, huh?
Was it that new poster?
No, I just saw something that said that Lex was going to be her villain too.
Oh, okay.
So now Lobo's going to be in it, yes, and
Yeah, he's gonna
Lobo.
be probably like kind of how Ultraman was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that Lobo is a bounty hunter. So therefore, he's got to have somebody that's paying him because he only does stuff if somebody's paying him. So guess who's probably paying him? Lex.
Oh yeah.
Think about it.
Yep, I think so.
That would make sense.
Well, so moving on, just from the point when they were facing, when they got the message from the fortress, we then see Clark save a few more people. How he saves a woman from the kaiju, and then he saves a bunch of kids who like run up to him and stuff, and then that's when we get that news reveal. And I really like this scene when Clark was Superman, was he was emotionally affected by that because his entire world was just crushed because
Mhm.
he thinks that he was really sent to rule over humanity and not serve it. And
Mhm.
we don't know if that's true or not because we're not actually said. It's never said. I mean, I know Miss Terrific said, "Oh, it's definitely accurate," but that's not really confirmation.
Right.
So then we get where. By the way, I forgot to mention this earlier with Rick Flag Senior, but I can mention it now. Is when we get Guy Gardner calling Superman Big Blue.
Oh yeah, when they kind of almost have it out.
Yeah, that's a comic book thing. Yeah, Big Blue.
Mhm.
That was actually used though. I thought that wasn't used in live action before, but I actually was just watching something where it actually was used. It was just a different nickname, but it was not. It was related to Big Blue,
Mm.
um, and that I forgot about. But then after this, we had, he goes to the fortress. He learns Crypto's taken. We get that scene with him and Lexus, which I say now, knowing the context, Clark wasn't really scared, just worried about Crypto, I don't think. He was worried that, Jesus, if Kara finds out that Crypto got kidnapped on my watch, not only am I in deep shit, but Metropolis is in deep shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, uh, but that was actually cool. And was I hearing it correctly that the person who came in Alexa's office who tried to stop Superman, Lex called her mom? Did I
Oh,
hear that right?
I don't know. I missed that.
I think either it's mom or something, but it sounded like that was his mom. But she
Because
looked,
Lex's mom is well, I don't
because
know.
she looked the same age as him. But
Right.
I mean, that's because they have makeup departments before they
Right.
film. So,
Well,
uh,
that's true. So
yeah, I actually
I
knew
missed that.
someone.
So
I know someone who knew someone who worked
oh, I know
actually in
somebody that
makeup
worked on the
departments.
set as well. um, on from TikTok. I know someone who worked on the set because we've talked a few times now, and he was telling me a lot. And he worked on the special effects and different things. So,
Oh yeah. Would this person I'm talking about actually worked? She's passed away now, but she worked on she did Jack Nicholson's makeup for the
hmm
Joker.
hmm
Yeah. Um.
no, this person worked on this movie.
Oh, okay.
On this movie. So he travels around the world and works on different movies, and he worked on this one. So because we were talking about it afterward, he's like, yeah, he's like, and he was showing me pictures of different movies from Batman. He's like, look on my timeline. He's like, you'll see some Warner Brothers pictures. He
Oh,
works for
nice.
Warner Brothers Discovery. They send him all over. It's not necessarily just comic books. So
Oh, yeah. Okay.
it's just like, ah, I'm so jealous. So,
So from here is when we see he goes back. I'm not sure. I'm assuming that's his apartment, but I don't know how the hell he affords a big place like that as a reporter. But um,
oh, Clark.
yeah.
Well, I
I assume
mean,
that was his apartment.
you know, that being said, you have to realize that Clark has, been away it, it's not really that big of an apartment, and him and Lois, you got to realize
Oh, that's true.
Lois is also about 10 has been working for 10 years while Clark was at this is their apartment together, okay? It could be her apartment and he moved in with her
Oh,
because
maybe.
remember, she's been working for about 10 years. He was at the Fortress of Solitude for 10 years. He hasn't been a reporter for 10 years. So, because he's only been a reporter for like maybe 3 years since he's been being Superman.
Yeah.
And they moved in together. So maybe he
Well,
moved in
it
with
was
her.
it was actually said in the movie that they live in different apartments.
Well, I thought it said they had been living together for 3 months. They
No,
just,
they've been together for 3 months.
I thought it said they moved in together.
No, because during the interview scene, that was during the trailer, but it was the interview scene. That's
Mhm.
her apartment, and that's why she thought someone was in there because Clark just went in without telling her.
Right. Well, remember, she's been a reporter for probably 10 years at least, maybe longer.
Yeah,
So she
yeah,
would have had time to have saved up money. And she's a
that's
reporter at the
true.
top of her game.
That's true.
So you got to remember that. So,
Yeah, but yeah. So for this scene, but we get it's a good scene. And that's actually revealed a little bit later that Lois was actually going to break up with him here. But and then this is where we also get Clark telling Lois he loves her, but she doesn't say it back.
right. And I love it when she actually does. Oh my
In the
God,
end,
I
yeah, I love that
cried. Oh
too.
my God, I cried.
But
Both times I cried.
and then and from here, this is where we get Superman. He turns himself in. This is where he gets taken into the pocket dimension, where we get Mr. Handsome from the
Mm,
comics. We got he was Metamorpho, but his name's Element Man in this movie.
right. And they call
Uh,
him Rex.
yes, and we get it that he is able to make kryptonite. By the way, I love the kryptonite. I assumed the effects were going to be like Superman and Lois or even Supergirl, which I was fine with because I like that kryptonite effect, like when it's
Right.
affecting him. But I really liked how they did it in this movie.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Uh, then we finally had it where we had that scene in the Hall of Justice. Oh no, no! First we have it where no, I think we have the Hall of Justice scene first, and then which we already talked about, and then
Yeah,
we
where she
had
comes in and he says the hypno glasses, which the hypno
yeah,
glasses, and I love that where he's like, so you know about the hypno glasses? And she's like, well, I do now. And she's like, I do, but you shouldn't be telling everybody. Even if I didn't know, I do now.
And then he goes, so you know he's Clark Kent.
And she's like, well, yeah. And she's like, and you shouldn't be going around telling everybody in case I didn't know.
Yeah, but she also kind of blamed Clark because she was like, does he just trust everybody? And then he goes, only us because we're what did he say? He goes,
Because we're the
part of
Justice
the
Gang.
cloth.
And he's like, and Kendra says, that name is not sticking. And he's like, yes, it is.
But this is where we get another really funny scene where Mr. Terrific agrees to help. And then he goes,
Right.
we can take my ride. And then the garage
Oh,
door
I
just
love
opens
that.
slowly. And then Lois goes, Lois says what everybody in the theater is thinking. You have a spaceship, but you can't get a past the garage door.
He's like, I haven't figured that one out yet. Everybody just starts dying laughing in our theater.
Oh yeah, mine too. So then we have it where we have that fight scene before they enter the pocket universe. I really like that scene. And then
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Then we got it where he was Lex kills Maddie, was that his name, in front of Superman, and we get him like emotionally affected by that, which I really liked. And then we have it where Metamorpho ends up making a makeshift sun to power Superman so he can break out. And then we have Mr. Terrific and Lois rescue Clark. But by the way, I love that Lois's kind of story in this movie was, at least the main story, was actually saving Clark.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of cool. So then we have a really cool visuals here with the black hole and everything. But we see where obviously Superman also saves Metamorpho's son. I don't think that we've seen the last of Metamorpho.
Oh no, you didn't catch that at the end of the movie? He joined the Justice Gang.
Oh, I thought that was more of a joke.
No, he joined the Justice Gang, and Green Lantern's like, he's like, oh, I like the name. He's like, you're in. He's like, really? So no, he joined the Justice Gang.
Oh, he said you're in. I thought he said something else.
No,
Okay.
he said you're in. He's like, really? And he's like, really? He is a member of the Justice League. He really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what happened. He joins the Justice Gang.
Well, so then from here we have with the next scene after when they escape, Clark has kryptonite poisoning, so Lois takes him to Ma and Pa Kent's house, and then we also see how Crypto seems like Crypto likes Lois.
Yes, and this is where I have the one small gripe that I do. Ma Kent sounds like she's from Louisiana, not Kansas. So, I mean, she's got an accent deeper than my southern accent.
Yeah, I did notice that. But in real life, I think she was born in Tennessee in real life.
Yeah, but her accent is way, way, way,
Yeah.
way too deep. So
Yeah.
that is a small gripe that I have, but it wasn't enough to detain me from liking the movie. And one of my favorite scenes is when Clark is talking to Paul Kent, and
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, I love that scene too.
I mean, because basically he's saying, he's like, when he's talking about they meant for me to be a killing machine, and he's like, you are the choices that you make. That whole speech to me,
It made me cry.
it just it it reminds me of the speech that Gandalf gives in Lord of the Rings. It's kind of like that you are the choices that you make. You can be whoever you are or whoever you choose to be. Or to make a Marvel reference, with great power comes great
Yeah,
responsibility in
yeah,
Spider-Man. It's kind of the same thing. And I like the fact that James Gunn changes the fact that Paul Kent is still alive. So, because here we get the Paul Kent still alive, and he's giving his son words of advice that will stick with him forever. And I absolutely adored that scene, and I cried too. So, it just was very well done.
yeah. And when he said that, par- uh, pa- you know, parents aren't here to tell their kids what they should be. We are here to give you the tools so
Exactly.
you can figure out who you are.
Exactly. Exactly. Because parents can always, the parents that tell you what you should be are not actually being good parents, but the ones that are guiding you and giving you the tools, those are what parents should be. And I love that. It was just an awesome scene.
Yeah.
It was.
Um. Uh. Yeah. So from here, we had. I really liked this scene where he had the guitar started going for the music, and we had the kids holding up that Superman flag in the middle of a war zone. And I thought that was cool. And everybody was watching the TV and they were all chanting Superman's name.
Yeah.
And then this is where we get the rift opening too and stuff, but um just to bring up a little bit later, when the kid is holding up the flag and he's about to get shot, and then Guy Gardner protects him, I forget exactly what he said, but the punchline was he goes, "Oh, seems like you got an upgrade."
That's true. So,
um, but yeah, and then this is where we get like the final really fight between Ultraman and oh no, first we got when they tried to kill Superman with the nanite. There was the
oh yeah,
nanites, I guess you'd
right.
call them.
Fits him back up.
So when I first saw that for the first time, I thought he was gonna go up into the sun and get and burn the nanites off him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but what they did, I still don't understand what he did. Did he freeze the nanites?
I don't know what he did. Maybe his body was just able to heat them. All I know is he pulled them out. Maybe he did freeze them. I'm not exactly sure what he did.
Yeah. But
So
then
I'm
from
not
here
sure
we
what he
got
did.
the whole final fight between Ultraman and Superman. It was awesome. And then we had
It
that
was.
little funny scene with where he calls Crypto and Crypto's at the pet store. That was funny.
It really was.
Uh
Crypto
but then
stole the show throughout the whole movie.
yeah.
He
And
really did.
we get where Superman really goes OP, where we get him. I love the shot when the teeth like bounce off the camera. That was cool. I can't wait to see that in 3D.
Oh,
Uh,
I
but
didn't
then we
watch the
got his.
movie in 3D, but I heard
I haven't seen it
from
yet
people
either
it
in
was
3D.
great.
Uh, but yeah, and then we got that good quote after the fight scene when he has the quote where he tells Lex, I'm just as human as anyone else.
Right, which he is.
Yeah. And then from here, we get pretty much when the Daily Planet, they get in the T-craft and they essentially show that Lex is oh, I forgot to add how they exposed Lex was Eve sent like a photo album to Jimmy, which
Right.
I thought at first like she sent the wrong thing.
Yeah, but Lois, being Lois, and the
Yeah.
hell of a reporter that she is, catches that in the back. Because honestly, Lois did. I don't think that Miss Tessmacher actually knew she was sending anything. So I think she thought she was just sending selfies.
Yeah. Well, oh, and that little thing earlier when Lois was on the phone with Jimmy and she goes, "How do you do it, Jimmy?"
Yeah,
um,
really.
but yeah, and then we got the final scene with Lex being sent to Bellwave. He gets like attacked by Crypto, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then we get him. He's being sent to Bellwave, which cool reference there. And I
He
just
won't be in
appreciated
Bellevue for long.
how
So,
like every street corner was named after a comic book writer.
oh yeah, yeah.
Um, and then we had that final scene that you brought up earlier, where how Lois finally says,
That she loves
"Yeah,
him. And also Perry White says, how long that has that been going on? And Jimmy says, oh, about 3 months. So
yeah,
yeah, so that scene made me cry. It really did.
yeah,
But obviously Perry White kind of knows, but he doesn't. And in the comics, Perry White kind of knows too, but he never says anything. Jimmy obviously is very, very intuitive and knows. He just never says anything. So
yeah,
and that's why I said we get some vibes from My Adventures in Superman in this film. We really do.
yeah."
So
I think. Do you think Jimmy knows by this point?
I think Jimmy knows. Yeah, I think Jimmy knows. But Jimmy's not going to say anything.
Yeah,
So, and I think that Perry's figured it out, but he's not going to, he's not going to say anything either. So,
yeah. So,
but,
and then we get the scene back at the fortress, with we get Supergirl appears,
right. And
and can I just say I'm glad they decided to change the suit and not new poster because I did not like the suit we got.
I like the suit that she's wearing with the short skirt. That's the classic suit.
Well, no, I like the classic suit too. No, but I mean I didn't like the design of the suit that she cameoed in.
Oh, the one in the movie, you didn't like it?
Yeah, well, no, but just little things about the design that look kind of weird, but they corrected those things I didn't like about it on the poster.
I haven't seen the poster yet,
I
so
can pull it up.
yeah, pull it up
It
because
was an incomplete version, but
I haven't seen it. Like I liked it with the high boots. I liked the short skirt. Overall I like it. I didn't want her in pants. I wanted a classic suit. Kind of like, for the most part, Superman's is a classic suit. And her S will be backwards too. But yeah, it makes sense that Lex will be the villain of her movie too, because somebody has to hire Lobo.
here you go.
Hmm. Oh, I had seen that. Okay, I
Yeah,
had seen
see,
that.
they corrected the suit.
I'm not sure what they did to change it, but yeah, I had seen
The
that.
belt looks way different.
Yeah, the belt's different,
That
but
was my main issue with it in the movie
and the
with the
skirt's
belt.
a little longer. So, but yeah, I had seen that. I take that back. I hadn't realized that it was different from the movie. So, the skirt's a little longer as well.
Yeah, well, it looks like the Woman of Tomorrow suit from the comics, though.
I haven't read that comic, so I never read that many Supergirl comics. So
Well, I haven't either. I'm just getting into it now. I'm gonna read Supergirl Rebirth. I heard was good too.
mm, so
But yeah. So and then this is where we get. This is pretty much the end of the movie. But we get it revealed that she likes to party on other planets with red suns.
and that is basically what Woman of Tomorrow is about.
Yeah.
So
So
it's about her 21st birthday. And
I
I
am
don't know what kind of trouble she gets into because I have not read it, but I do know that that's what it's about.
Yeah, me too. I didn't even know that much. uh,
I know
but
that much.
and then
So,
that's pretty much the end of the movie. But we get a couple post-credit scenes. They
and
don't
really,
really
the post
matter.
credit scenes weren't anything important. They just were kind of finishing
I,
up what we have.
I think the Supergirl cameo should have been a post-credit scene.
It kind of was. That's why it took place
Yeah,
at the very end. It really was a post-credit scene without being one. That's why it
yeah,
happened at the very end like that. It basically was a post-credit scene, and then we already knew when he was walking like he was. That in a way that was the post-credit scene. That kind of was. It was done that way purposely. So, you know. I don't think there was anything. We didn't really miss anything. It's just that's the way that it was done. So,
yeah.
but I
And then
thought it was all well.
that's about it for the movie.
I really enjoyed it.
Me
I
too.
enjoyed it all. I thought it was all done well. Um, I can't wait for the next thing. I know we get Peacemaker in August, so that's the next thing we get, and then we
Yeah,
get
and then
after
it
that.
we're told that Peacemaker season 2 will get a clearer idea of where things are going in the universe.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that we will probably see several of the heroes in Peacemaker too. So I haven't seen Peacemaker season 1.
Oh, it's
Um,
really good.
so I need to watch it at some point in time. Although
It's funny as hell.
I'm told that Peacemaker season 1 really isn't going to tie in too much into season 2 because he
Well,
seems to
it
get
was
direction.
that's because season 1 was in the DCEU. So, however, what
Yeah,
James
so
Gunn says is a lot of things are going to be the same. So, like
it'll
for example, Peacemaker still killed Rick Flag Jr.
Right. Some of it, but it's not going to be to the point that I have to watch season one.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't need to watch season one. I can start out with season 2, and they'll give a recap of what I need to see,
Yeah, I will
and
say
I'll
season
just
1
watch
is pretty
season.
funny.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is, but I don't. I never did watch it. It's just like I've never watched The Boys because I watched. I
Oh,
watched
I
the
can't
spinoff.
get into The Boys.
I can't get into The Boys because it's too hardcore for me.
Me too.
So, but now I love the Suicide Squad, and so that's a little bit,
The
different.
second one, not the first one. The
The
first
second
one
one,
was
oh yes, the first one was hideous, hideous, but it was not done by Gunn, so
no.
I don't even know who did the first one.
I think that was Dave. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and probably end the stream here.
Well,
Thank you
thank you
all
for
for
having
joining
me.
in. Yeah, thank you for joining.
I'm
We would
glad that
definitely have you on more in the
yeah,
future.
I'm glad I didn't have D&D tonight and was able to come.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Well,
So,
anyway, I will see everyone later.
bye.